Richard Morgan Flair, famously known to the wrestling world as Ric Flair, was born on February 25, 1949, in Memphis, Tennessee, USA. His birth, however, came with a twist of fate. Flair was adopted shortly after being born. His adoptive parents, Dr. Richard Raid Flair and Kathleen Kinsmiller Flair, provided him with a comfortable and supportive upbringing. Dr. Flair was a physician, and Kathleen worked in the theater industry, offering young Rick a balance of discipline and creativity in his formative years. Shortly after his adoption, the Flair family moved to Edina, Minnesota, where Rick would spend most of his childhood. Growing up in Minnesota, he was an energetic and spirited boy with a flair for entertaining others. Even at a young age, Rick exhibited a larger-than-life personality that would later become his trademark in the wrestling world. During his school years, Flair was heavily involved in athletics. He attended Wayland Academy, a boarding school in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, where he excelled in several sports. Football, track, and wrestling were his strongest pursuits. But it was amateur wrestling that began to capture his attention the most. His natural charisma, combined with his competitive nature, made him stand out among his peers. Rick's passion for wrestling didn't appear overnight. It was nurtured over time by his exposure to regional wrestling promotions and his admiration for athletes who could command both physical respect and crowd adoration. Outside of wrestling, Flair was also known for his bold personality. He enjoyed being the center of attention and never shied away from performing in front of others, whether on the field, in the gym, or simply among friends. After high school, Flair briefly attended the University of Minnesota, where he initially pursued a career in athletics. However, his true calling lay outside traditional academics. It was during this time that Flair met Olympic weightlifter and wrestling coach Ken Tara, who introduced him to Vern Gagne, a respected figure in professional wrestling. This connection proved pivotal in shaping Flair's career path. By the early 1970s, Ric Flair had transitioned from a promising young athlete to a dedicated trainee at Gang's wrestling camp, setting the stage for a career that would eventually make him one of the most iconic and celebrated figures in professional wrestling history. Ric Flair's journey into the world of professional wrestling began with his strong athletic background and natural charisma. In high school at Wayland Academy, Flair was a multi-sport athlete, excelling in football, track, and wrestling. Although football was initially his main focus, amateur wrestling became increasingly appealing to him. He enjoyed the individual challenge and physicality of the sport, as well as the competitive spirit it required. Flair's early influences came from watching regional wrestling promotions in the Midwest, where larger-than-life personalities such as Vern Gagne, Harley Race, and Wahoo McDaniel captured his imagination. He admired their ability to blend athleticism with showmanship, a combination that resonated with his own personality. By his late teens, Flair had a clear sense that wrestling offered him the perfect platform to channel his competitive energy and love for entertaining. After a brief stint at the University of Minnesota, Flair's life took a decisive turn when he met Ken Patera, an Olympic weightlifter and wrestler. Patera recognized Flair's potential and introduced him to Vern Gagne, a legendary professional wrestler and promoter. Gagne ran a rigorous wrestling training camp in Minnesota, designed to push aspiring wrestlers to their physical and mental limits. In 1971, Flair entered Gang's camp, joining a group of recruits that included future stars like the Iron Sheik and Ken Patera himself. Training was grueling. Sessions took place in a converted barn and involved intense cardio, technical drills, and punishing strength exercises. Gagne emphasized discipline, conditioning, and in-ring fundamentals, which helped Flair develop the foundation of his wrestling style. Flair's dedication paid off quickly. Later that same year, he made his professional debut for the American Wrestling Association, away facing Scrap Iron George Godarski. While still inexperienced, Flair's physical strength, stamina, and charisma caught the attention of promoters and fans alike. His broad-shouldered frame, bleach blonde hair, and confident demeanor made him stand out even in his early matches. During these formative years, Flair continued to learn from established veterans, studying their in-ring psychology and crowd interaction. He was especially inspired by wrestlers who could adapt to different audiences and match styles, a skill that would later define his career. This first professional break with the AWA marked the beginning of Ric Flair's transformation from a promising athlete to a rising star in the wrestling business, setting the stage for a career that would span decades and earn him the nickname, the Nature Boy. Ric Flair's ascent to wrestling superstardom began in the mid-1970s when he joined the National Wrestling Alliance and NWA. Early on, Flair displayed an uncanny ability to blend technical wrestling skill with flamboyant showmanship. His cocky persona, designer robes, and trademark, Wooo, became instant trademarks, winning him both adoration and disdain from fans. One of Flair's first defining rivalries was with Wahoo McDaniel, a respected veteran whose hard-hitting style tested Flair's toughness. These matches established Flair as more than just a flashy newcomer. He could hold his own against seasoned brawlers. In 1975, however, Flair's career nearly ended when he was in a devastating plane crash that broke his back in 3 places. Doctors told him he would never wrestle again, but after an astonishing recovery in just 8 months, Flair returned to the ring, a comeback that made him a hero to many fans. By 1981, Flair's career reached a turning point when he defeated Dusty Rhodes to capture his first NWA World Heavyweight Championship. This victory launched him into the main event spotlight, and he would go on to hold that title a record-setting number of times. His reigns were marked by classic bouts against wrestling legends such as Harley Race, Ricky Steamboat, and Sting. The trilogy of matches with Ricky, the Dragon, Steamboat in 1989 is still considered among the greatest in wrestling history. Their encounters combined technical mastery with storytelling that kept audiences glued to their seats. Behind the scenes, Flair and Steamboat maintained mutual respect, often working together to plan matches that would captivate both live crowds and television audiences. Flair's 1983 steel cage match against Harley Race at Starrcade, billed as A Flair for the Gold, was another career-defining moment. The victory not only cemented Flair as the face of the NWA, but also marked the beginning of Starrcade as wrestling's premier annual event before WrestleMania existed. Media coverage during this era portrayed Flair as both a villainous nature boy, living the high life, and an unmatched in-ring performer. His interviews, full of confidence and outrageous boasts, became as famous as his matches. Fans loved to hate him, and arenas often erupted in mixed reactions. Boos for his arrogance, cheers for his undeniable skill. By the end of the 1980s, Ric Flair was no longer just a champion. He was the standard bearer for professional wrestling, a man whose name was synonymous with excellence, drama, and the belief that, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Away from the ring, Ric Flair's life has been as colorful and dramatic as his wrestling persona. Over the decades, Flair has been married 5 times, to Leslie Goodman, Elizabeth Harrell, Tiffany Vandermark, Jackie Beams, and Wendy Barlow. He has 4 children: David, Megan, Reid, and Ashley, better known as WWE superstar Charlotte Flair. His relationships have often been in the public eye, marked by both moments of happiness and very public separations. Flair's flamboyant lifestyle outside wrestling mirrored the nature boy character: luxury cars, designer clothes, fine dining, and a reputation for partying. While fans admired his charisma, this lifestyle sometimes led to financial troubles, including tax issues and bankruptcy filings. Despite these setbacks, Flair remained a beloved figure, known for his charm and willingness to connect with fans. Injuries were a recurring challenge throughout his career. The most serious came in 1975, when a plane crash broke his back in 3 places. Doctors believed he'd never wrestle again, but his recovery and return became a testament to his determination. Later in his career, decades of wrestling took their toll, leading to surgeries, physical pain, and extended absences from the ring. Flair's personal struggles have also included public scandals. Stories of excessive partying, alleged backstage conflicts, and financial disputes with promotions often made headlines. In 2017, he faced a life-threatening health crisis when complications from surgery left him in a medically induced coma. His survival was considered a near miracle, and it marked a turning point in how he approached his health. Tragedy struck in 2013 when his younger son, Ric Flair, passed away at the age of 25 due to a drug overdose. This loss deeply affected Flair, and he has since spoken openly about it, using his platform to warn others about the dangers of substance abuse. Outside the controversies, Flair has also engaged in charitable work. He has supported causes like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, visiting children battling serious illnesses, and has participated in fundraising events for health-related charities. His willingness to share his personal struggles publicly has also inspired fans dealing with their own challenges. Through triumphs and hardships, Ric Flair's personal life reflects resilience. While his public image has often been larger than life, behind the robes and bravado is a man who has endured loss, pain, and redemption, always returning to the spotlight with the same defiant energy that made him the nature boy. Ric Flair's wrestling career extended far beyond the average lifespan of most professional wrestlers, with his official in-ring retirement coming in 2008. Though true to the Nature Boy fashion, he would make occasional returns. His farewell match under the WWE banner took place at WrestleMania XXIV, where he faced Shawn Michaels in an emotional bout remembered for Michaels whispered, "I'm sorry, I love you," before delivering the decisive superkick. The match earned a standing ovation, and Flair was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame just one night earlier. After stepping away from full-time wrestling, Flair remained an active public figure. He took on roles as a manager and occasional on-screen personality, working with younger talent in WWE and later appearing in TN Wrestling, Total Nonstop Action alongside wrestlers like AJ Styles and Fortune. His mentorship provided a bridge between wrestling's past and present generations, with many younger stars crediting Flair for sharing his knowledge of in-ring psychology and crowd engagement. Outside the ring, Flair made frequent public appearances, attending fan conventions, autograph signings, and wrestling-related events. He also ventured into acting, making cameo appearances in television shows, commercials, and documentaries. His over-the-top charisma translated well to entertainment beyond wrestling, with memorable appearances in ESPN's 30 for 30 documentary, Nature Boy, which offered a candid look at both his triumphs and struggles. Flair explored business ventures, including endorsing energy drinks, launching merchandise lines, and collaborating with brands that embraced his iconic Wooo catchphrase. In recent years, he entered the cannabis industry, launching his own brand in partnership with Mike Tyson's cannabis company. Blending his marketing flair with the booming market, health challenges continued to shape his later years. In 2017, Flair underwent emergency surgery and was placed in a medically induced coma, sparking concern among fans worldwide. His recovery was celebrated as another comeback story in a career built on defying the odds. Despite no longer competing regularly, Flair maintained a presence in wrestling storylines and ceremonies, often appearing to celebrate milestones or honor fellow wrestlers. His daughter, Charlotte Flair, has carried on the family legacy, with Ric often making surprise appearances during her WWE career. In his later years, Ric Flair embraced his role as a living legend, attending events, inspiring new generations of wrestlers, and enjoying the adulation of fans who grew up watching him. Retirement, for Flair, has never meant stepping out of the spotlight. Instead, it's been an evolution from the ring's center stage to an enduring cultural icon. As of 2025, Ric Flair is still alive, continuing to make occasional public appearances and remaining active on social media. However, there have been moments when the wrestling world braced for the worst. In August 2017, Flair faced a life-threatening medical crisis due to complications from bowel surgery that led to kidney failure and multiple organ issues. Placed in a medically induced coma, he was given slim chances of survival. His eventual recovery was viewed by fans and the media as nothing short of miraculous, reinforcing his reputation as a man who could survive anything, inside or outside the ring. Because of these close calls, the conversation about Flair's legacy has often happened as if he were already gone. Many wrestlers, sports journalists, and fans have reflected on his decades-long career, calling him one of the greatest, if not the greatest, professional wrestlers of all time. His in-ring mastery, charisma, and ability to make any opponent look like a star are traits that influence generations of wrestlers. Flair's legacy is built on his record 16 recognized world championships, his legendary rivalries with Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Harley Race, and Sting, and his unmatched ability to captivate an audience with a promo. His Wooo catchphrase has transcended wrestling, becoming a pop culture staple heard at sporting events, concerts, and even everyday conversations. Media coverage of Flair has always highlighted the duality of his persona, an entertainer who lived his gimmick, and a man who faced real-life struggles with health, finances, and personal relationships. This human complexity has made him both relatable and iconic. Documentaries like ESPN's Nature Boy and numerous wrestling podcasts have chronicled his career, ensuring future generations understand his contributions to the sport. Public reaction to his near-death experiences demonstrated just how beloved he is. Tributes poured in from WWE, AEW, and wrestling legends worldwide, with many calling him the heartbeat of professional wrestling. Younger wrestlers often cite him as a mentor and inspiration, proof that his influence stretches far beyond his own era. Today, Ric Flair is remembered not just for the championships and the matches, but for the style, passion, and larger-than-life presence he brought to professional wrestling. His name remains synonymous with excellence, showmanship, and resilience. Whether strutting down the aisle in a feathered robe or inspiring the next generation from ringside, Ric Flair's legacy as the nature boy is secure. Wooo will echo in arenas for decades to come.